Hey everybody. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the practice session 1 in Institutional Autobiography, which can be found on pages 25 and 26 of Habits of the Creative Mind. So just to review, an autobiography, if we break the word apart, I'm a fan of words. I love breaking words apart. So let's look at the vocabulary here. So a biography is an account of somebody's life. Typically it's somebody else's life, right? Now when we add the prefix auto, that means self. So self-biography. So it's an accounting of our own lives. Now in this case, it's not our whole lives. It's just in the context of an institutional setting. So an institution is something like school or church or some other sort of organized structure typically found contained within a certain building, for example. So a school, an institution. So in this case, we're looking at our experiences with reading and writing in school up until this point, up until taking English 100 in spring 2023, right? So we want to go back and look at the practice session specifically to see what this entails. This is going to be step 1 of major essay project number 1. So we need to make sure that we do this step first. In a way, this is going to serve as a brainstorming mechanism to help us generate ideas that we can then use for our first draft of major essay project number 1. So let me go ahead and read through this and then we'll take a look at the specifics of the practice session. So you're going to need to have your book in order to do this. And keep in mind this comes after, this practice session is contained after the section called On Unlearning. So we need to read that section first before engaging with the practice session in order for this to make sense. So let's look at this here. So for this discussion post, complete practice session 1 in Institutional Autobiography on pages 25 and 26. Follow the instructions for this practice session exactly as Miller and Jurecic describe on pages 25 and 26. So what are those instructions? Let's look. So I have my digital version of the book here, looking at page 25. Practice session 1 in Institutional Autobiography. What we're practicing here, we're practicing beginning, orienting, and paying attention. And the activity involves note-taking, reflecting, and writing. On Unlearning makes a series of generalizations about the current state of secondary education, and more specifically, about what students are taught to think writing is for. But we know our description isn't true for every student in every classroom. So for this practice session, we want you to reconstruct your personal history as a reader and as a writer in school. What were your formative experiences? Was there a teacher who helped you significantly improve your writing? A specific assignment? Were there events that discouraged you from thinking of yourself as a writer or as a creative person? After you've spent time reflecting, remembering, and taking notes, we want you to write up your own institutional autobiography, in which you document and discuss your experiences with reading and writing in school. Your autobiography should present an account of both moments of learning and moments of unlearning or frustration. Ideally, you would be able to refer directly to papers you've written in the past. Maybe they're stored on your hard drive or in your email archive. Your autobiography will provide a snapshot of how you evaluate yourself as a reader and a writer at the beginning of your time working with Habits of the Creative Mind. As you move through the book's essays and practice sessions, you can return to your autobiography to see if your sense of what reading and writing are for has changed as a result of your efforts to use writing as a technology for thinking new thoughts. So let me provide a little clarification here. So as I mentioned in the video for major essay project number 1, in the explanation video, what this essay is challenging us to do is to examine our experiences with reading and writing specifically in school up until this point, so that we can better understand how those experiences have influenced our own perceptions of ourselves as readers and writers. So if you think of yourself perhaps as maybe somebody who's not a good writer, or perhaps you don't like reading, or maybe you love reading, maybe you love writing, whatever the case might be, however you think of yourself, that perception comes from your experiences. And that's true of everything, no matter what it is. Everything is based on our experiences. How we think of ourselves comes from our experiences. But we maybe don't think of our experiences or think about our experiences very critically. And so we maybe aren't really too sure how those experiences have contributed to who we are as people. So in this case, we're looking back at those experiences with reading and writing so that we better understand ourselves as readers and writers today. So as Miller and Jurecic ask here, what were your formative experiences? So maybe there was an experience in 3rd grade or 5th grade or 7th grade, whatever grade it happens to be, that played a significant role. Maybe it was a bad experience, maybe it was a good experience, maybe it was a combo. Did you have a teacher who played a significant role? Maybe somebody who motivated you or maybe helped you understand a certain concept or idea better, maybe helped you build your confidence as a reader or writer, or perhaps it was a teacher who discouraged you. Maybe they made you feel like you weren't a good reader or writer. Why is that? You want to look back at that experience. Perhaps you really loved to read when you were growing up, and then there was a time where you stopped liking to read. That might be the case. What happened there, though? Why did you stop reading? Or perhaps it's the vice versa. Maybe you started to read. What happened? What motivated you? Was it a specific book that you read? Was it a specific experience that you had? What was it? Events that discouraged you? All of these things are important to look to examine. So this is what this practice session is asking us to do, to look at these experiences with our K through 12 experience in school, so that we can recreate these moments of learning and moments of unlearning or frustration. So unlearning, of course, we learned about that from the reading on unlearning. So you want to make sure that you've read that section carefully before you engage in this practice session. So what you're going to do, you're going to post your autobiography to this discussion board. So I want you to use paragraphs to separate your ideas. I'm not going to specify how many paragraphs, and I'm not going to specify a word count, but it should be several paragraphs, should be enough information to get a good sense, to provide us with a good sense of some of these key experiences with reading and writing. After you've posted your response, reply to at least 2 colleagues' posts. Okay, so you're going to look at 2 of your classmates' posts, you're going to read their posts, and then you're going to respond to their posts. Because one of the purposes of this practice session is to get us started on major essay project number 1, try to offer your colleagues constructive feedback on their ideas. Which of their ideas deserve to be expanded or fine-tuned? Are certain ideas in their post unclear? Would a more specific example help to expand a point? Do you have any questions about any of the ideas in their post? Did they leave an important aspect of their institutional autobiography out of their post? So all of these questions are things to think about when you're responding to your colleagues. Pay attention to what your colleagues have done well, and maybe they can expand those things. Maybe they can enhance those successful pieces or components, and then look at things that they could perhaps add more attention to or provide more attention or detail to. Help your colleagues. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to help these ideas grow and flourish. So we want to make sure that we're keeping that spirit in mind when we're responding to our 2 colleagues. Try to respond to colleagues. If you see somebody's post who doesn't have any responses, respond to that one rather than responding to a post that maybe already has 3 or 4 responses. You want to try to spread that attention out. Now, your post is due by midnight on Sunday, the 22nd of January. And just as you did with your student introduction post in the week 1 module. You'll go ahead and compose this outside of the, don't compose it directly into this text box. Remember, we can't save it until we post it. So compose it in Google Docs first or Microsoft Word, so that way you can save it, and also you can revise it so that it's actually something that's sufficient to share with other people. Don't just type it out all haphazardly without proofreading or fine-tuning it. So once you're ready, then you would copy and paste it into this text box, and then you go ahead and post the reply, post reply there, and then that will do that. So your responses to your colleagues don't need to be done by this midnight deadline on the 22nd. We can continue to respond to them after that. But your key post, your practice session needs to be posted by that deadline. All right, everybody, if you have any questions, if certain things are unclear, you want to run something by me, send me a message on Canvas, or you can email me. Please, please, please don't be shy. I'm here to help. All right, everybody, I look forward to reading these.